Oklahoma City Thunder are just such a young, fun team to watch. They currently sit at 12th of the Western Conference, and they're currently 21 and 23. But this team is just so much fun for just such a young, talented team. And the question I want to pose today to all of you, and of course, hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below, is OKC the best young team in the league with the most promise? Now, I do think that there are other teams that are rather interesting, right? I think Detroit has a lot of young talent and a lot of young promise for the future. But I also think that a team like the Rockets, right? They have a lot of young talent and a lot of young promise for the future. The Hornets, if they end up getting, Victor Wembanyama, then them, LaMelo Ball, and likely Bridges, and if you do decide to keep PJ Washington, that's a tough beat, right? The Orlando Magic have been very good, very young, very fun. They likely have the rookie of the year. So there are a lot of really good, young, promising teams, without a doubt. But the Thunder just seemed to be a team that's almost like ahead of the curve. Right? They seem like a team that's just like really nice, really balanced. And they don't even have Chet Holmgren, who is supposed to be their best player, right? He was supposed to be a guy that could come in and have an immediate impact, be a Kevin Durant-esque player. Like, that was the guy he was compared to because of his height and his size and his abilities, right? He was like Victor Wembanyama before Victor Wembanyama, right? Like, he's a guy that was supposed to come in and be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. He had a great showing in Summer League. Him and Josh Giddey, both of them really seemed to have just a really nice connection. But I mean, just front to back, this team is fantastic. Obviously, you have SGA, we'll touch on in a minute, but he is playing out of this world. Josh Giddey looks like a triple-double threat, like night in and night out. The kid is just absolutely talented. We haven't even seen Chet Holmgren really with this team as a whole. Aaron Wiggins has been a nice standout. Obviously, Dort has been a nice standout. Jalen Williams. The list just goes on and on. Right? Kenrich Williams, although he's kind of been in like trade rumors as of lately. So I don't know if maybe they'll do some moves. There's even talks about like them maybe packaging some of these young guys and trying to get some other pieces going forward. But regardless, even if they keep this team intact, like, this is one thing OKC is really good at, is just getting that young talent. Now, hopefully, Sam Presti has learned his mistakes from the past, right? And we don't have a James Harden scenario all over again, right? Like, you got to pay these guys. You got to continue to develop and grow these guys going forward. And I really think that this is a team that in like 5 years could be in the conversation for best team in the league, right? This team is really good. Now, you could probably put up like the Memphis Grizzlies because they're very young. Even the Pelicans, they're pretty young for the most part. But I just look at OKC's team and it's just front to back, and it's like, man, this team could be something terrifying in the next couple seasons, right? If Chet becomes anything close to what he is projected and hoped to be and turn into, which is a guy that could potentially be, a top 5 player in the league, then that's amazing, right? And then, like I mentioned, you have SGA, who is just playing out of this world, right? And like, so much so, like, he might have been in the plans of like, hey, let's trade SGA, but not anymore. The guy's averaging 30 points a game. He's still really young, right? He's what? He's 24 years old. So it's not like he's 30, right? So you have him at a reasonable age to where it's like, okay, like, he could grow with this team. This is a player that has good height, good size, is able to finish, and is just really on a tear this year. Right? Like, he has been fantastic for this team this year. He's shooting around 35% from three-point range, which is league average, but he's only going to get better, right? I mean, he's still young. He's not even really in his prime yet. I mean, imagine what this kid could do in several seasons. Like, once he gets to like 27, 28, into his early 30s, this is somebody that could really just kind of take over and just be the go-to guy. And you have the setup guy and Josh Giddey, who he's the glue that puts it together, right? He's the Rajon Rondo, right? The guy that will go and just get the assists and keep everything kind of in line. If you need him to score, he can score. If you need him to rebound, he can rebound. He's even got some good size for him. And then, you have guys like Chet and all them. I mean, you basically have a point guard that's 6'8", right? I mean, seriously. And he's 20 years old and just being an absolute monster, right? Like that, like Giddey, I think is the kind of, Giddey might be one of the most important pieces going forward, like easily. Because again, he might be the glue guy, the real guy that kind of puts it together. But this team is long, they're big, they're lengthy. They're still probably going to have a top 10 pick, so they're probably going to be able to add to their talent pool. And this team has so much young talent, right? Like if Giddey, SGA, and Chet really turn out to be like their big three, right? Like the new age, like Harden, KD, and Russ, which they don't, like the comparisons aren't that far off, right? Like Giddey's kind of like what James Harden was for that team. Chet has been compared to Kevin Durant, and then SGA is like, a better version at like this age of a Russell Westbrook. So I can see that comparison. I can kind of, get on board with that a little bit. But, you have those three. You have a bunch of young talent, and you have a bunch of draft picks. You could easily build, like if they mesh well together, SGA continues to play the way he's playing. Giddey is like the glue guy. And then you have Chet, who if he can become anything close to what, people believe he can be, then you just have so much that you could then use to go get like the veteran pieces and round out the depth to go and be a contender for the next like several seasons. Seriously. Like it's crazy to think of how good OKC might be able to be in the upcoming seasons. And it all kind of centers around these three guys. I mean, these three guys are kind of the future. And look, maybe you have another guy or two that really stands out. Not saying that there haven't been like some very solid contributors on this team, but not to the level that you would imagine these three would be, right? But like, what if you get another guy or two that can come in and be that guy, right? Like, what if you can get another guy or two that can, now you got like a big four, or you got these five guys, like, you got something like, the Warriors. Like, you could be building something that's just remarkable and still have a ton of draft picks, right? Because they have a whole treasure trove of draft picks. They have a whole treasure trove of just young talent that many teams may want, right? And let's say, I don't really think that they would need to go after a star. I mean, you never know. But like, you go after and get like, say like a couple mid-tier quality, just kind of vet pieces, not that bad. Like if you're the Thunder, do you look at like a Miles Turner if he becomes a free agent in the offseason? Have Chet play the 4, Turner at the 5, Giddey at the point guard, SGA at the 2, right? And then you have Dort or whomever you want at the 3. Maybe you even go get another like veteran guy. Like that might not be bad, right? And Miles Turner, his age, I don't know if Miles Turner would want to go to OKC, but I'm just throwing out the idea of like, getting like a solid, sizable center, because I think Chet is going to be best suited at like the 4. I think he's going to be that 4 that stretches the floor, can take over games, can do a lot for this team. But I think you need those that low post dominant center, and obviously one that can kind of stretch the floor a little bit. Like that would be ideal as well. But again, I mean, maybe one of the guys end up developing into that. Maybe you end up having one of these guys kind of turn into that dominant low post force, right? Like that could be a real possibility. But I just watch OKC play. Just so much fun. A lot of it has to do with SGA. But I look at them and then I think of like, man, like if Chet was anywhere close to Banchero this season, this team might be a playoff team. Like literally, right? Like, because I mean, if you could add, like, let's say Chet was just another, let's say he was like a 15-9 guy, nothing crazy, or let's call it 15-8 guy. Like, that's huge. If you could add another 15-8 guy to this team already, like they might have won a couple more games than what they lost. We've seen them just have crazy scoring outputs. What they put like 150 was on like the Celtics, I think, right? Like that's crazy. So I mean, this team could really just continue to push going forward and really develop into just a powerhouse. And it's just I don't know. It was just something I was really thinking about. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of the Thunder? Do you think that they might have the best young team in the league? Do you think that they could develop into yeah, you're right. Like this may end up being the best team in like 3 to 5 years. I mean, who knows? You never really know. Like, can SGA continue this? Can Shea continue to put this type of production and this type of performance beyond this? We've seen guys have like incredible seasons and then kind of balance out, right? So like, does he go from like 30 points a game to like 22 points a game? Which could happen, which I mean, 22 points a game is still good, but it's not anywhere close to the 30. That's not the performance he's been showing. But if he maintain that, is Chet going to be able to come in and be the guy that people want him to be? Giddey, I think we kind of know what he's going to be. I think he has potential to be better, but like how much better, right? Like I think he is kind of what you expect him to be, right? Like, so, maybe they don't. Right, like I said, again, Orlando is another team that you could definitely throw into the hat. But would you want me to break down more of these? Would you want me to kind of maybe do a video like this going over like the Orlando Magic or the Houston Rockets and stuff? Did you like this kind of video? If you did, I'd love to hear it. Let me know down in the comment section below. But again, let me know your thoughts and opinions, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Let me know.